Today is burning day. We're heading down to Red House in the van. We have the piece in the back, plus some other assorted bits and bobs, and we're going to be setting fire to the piece in front of the dormer window on the main lawn. The dormer window being the inspiration, like the motif for the shape of the burn funnel, which has a certain resonance. I'm really excited for them to see the piece. I'm really excited for the audience to actually, see it up close and sort of inspect it. And it's this is what it's all been leading up to. This is the culmination of 6 months' work, and it's exciting. I'm going to be talking about the actual making process in the studio, how the metal work came about, and John, who's been doing the metal work, I've been collaborating with him on it. I'm going to be talking a little bit about how Howard and I, who's the co-designer on the project, how we sort of formulated the ideas, and then we're going to be burning. And the third test was successful, and we're going to do it like that, but actually with a slight improvement where we're going to place the fire under the piece rather than in it, which will hopefully make it catch better on the outside face. I think the timings based on the test is it takes around 5 to 10 minutes to actually set the cradle off, and then it takes approximately 10 to 15 minutes for each side or each panel to burn properly. So I think it's going to be between 30 and 45 minutes of actual burning, but it really depends on how it catches and how it looks. Well, burning is an essential part of the making process. It's partly a reference to the stove that once sat in the fireplace at Red House where my piece is going to be sitting. I have this idea that I want to rekindle the flame that once burned there, but it's also a reference to this quote, which is almost a conceptual touchstone for the whole project, which is, tradition is tending the flame, it's not worshipping the ashes. The way that I've sort of coined it for this project is that the arts and crafts are tending the flame, they're not worshipping the ashes. And that's really important because people think of the arts and crafts as this sort of backward-looking movement of Luddites who are sort of shunning progress and technology, when I don't think it's about that at all. The arts and crafts is about, well, Ruskin called it the head, heart and hand. What that basically means is using intellectual rigour and applying that to things that are important to you, so that's the head and the heart, and extrapolating that through your mastery of materials, which is the hand. The arts and crafts is about engagement with materials, engagement with people, engagement with users, engagement with places. So the second half of why this burn ceremony is taking place is because it's about tending the flame of making, tending the flame of the arts and crafts. And so I hope people get out of it a visceral, analog understanding of materials and how that process of burning marks the materials, how it changes them. And I hope in some ways being witnesses to this burn makes them feel they have a stake in it themselves. One of the things I've been asked a lot is about this burn and why I'm burning it and why it's what I'm burning, how much I'm burning it. So I won't repeat the reasons. The piece isn't going to be burned through and left as a pile of charred wood. It's a mark making exercise rather than a destructive exercise. It's partly based on this idea of creative destruction, which is the essence of design and creative arts, which is basically, you have to break eggs to make omelettes. I am interested to see, partly because I've heard it already on how I've engaged with people on social media about the project, I'm interested that some people have expressed concern that it's almost ruining the piece. I feel very calm about that. partly because this piece is always supposed to be burned, and it was never supposed to be this pristine this pristine piece of furniture. It was supposed to bear the marks of this, aggressive process. But I also think that in many ways it helpfully subverts what people perceive furniture making, the arts and craftsmanship as an endeavour to be about, which is sort of this pursuit of perfection, things being very long-winded and time-consuming, and of course they are. But in this instance, in 45 minutes, we're going to transform what is effectively a piece of inverted commas, perfect furniture making, although of course it's, I know where all the skeletons are buried in it, into what many will, I think, would see on first glance as something that's irrevocably damaged. And I quite like the idea that people's expectations will be dashed. It's almost like, the definition of a joke is basically laying up a framework and then dashing people's expectations of what they thought was going to happen. It's kind of my, it works in the same mechanism, and I'm interested to see if people enjoy the beginning and start murmuring towards the end that it's gone too far, or whether they get into it and become little arsonists themselves and start asking for more. I'm just interested in what people will say. There's a part of me that wants to just burn it to the ground. And I know that sounds ridiculous, and I'm not going to do that, but a bit like when you're standing on the edge of a building and you sort of can't quite trust yourself not to jump, although you never do, or on the edge of a cliff or whatever. I have this sense that we could just burn it to the ground. I should say I'm not going to do it, but I thought about it.